I am a French and German teacher in fourth core comprehensive, and probably you have all, I haven't met many of you before, I've met some of you before, but maybe not many of you. And I am the lead practitioner for German within the international languages, but like I said, I do teach French as well. And I think you all know Valle.
Hello, hola.
Needs no introduction there. Okay, so like we said, it's going to be a really informal meeting. We just have a few things that we thought would be really good to, you know, sort of have an opportunity to chat and get together and, you know, just ask me questions or just share experiences. And so this is the sort of agenda. So I've broken it into sort of three parts. So the work that we've been doing so far, up until this point, obviously over the last, well, 2 years really, but obviously in particular the last year, where we all are right now, with sort of CDGs and everything that's going on in the sort of situation that we're in, and obviously where we go from here and any issues that we've sort of identified as coming out of the lockdown period. Okay, so if we start with, first of all, what we've been doing so far. So we've been busy collating lots of resources, which will hopefully you'll find really, really helpful, particularly for Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5. So there are lots of resources across all skills, focusing on different content, so for different themes, and for different units of the exam as well, to support the teaching and learning of all of the international languages that we've got. So we've got French, German and Spanish, like I said, at Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5. So the playlists are pretty much ready to go. They're just awaiting translation into French, but I've put here where, like a little screenshot of where you can find them. So if you log into Cronva, there's a little sort of playlist side at the bottom here, and we'll send the links out to that as soon as they are ready. So I've been doing the German ones. We've got sort of, you know, speaking resources, writing resources, and like I said, resources for theme 4 in particular, resources for theme 2. So, you know, really a wide variety of resources really that is sort of coming to you very soon, and hopefully that you'll find those really useful. I don't know if you want to add anything on that.
Oh yes, mine is about, I've done A-level and GCSE. For A-level, I have done, I'm trying to remember now, I've done one about music and about social issues, especially immigration. And for GCSE, I have done environment, and I have done also social issues, and I've done also another one for grammar, and another one for digital resources like Genially and different games that I will show you later.
Yeah, so the idea is it's all there and it's ready for you to go, and it's easy for you to use, or if you want to adapt things, you know, they're really there to support you and to sort of give you some ideas of the things that we've been doing really. So that's sort of a lot of what we've been doing over the last year. Some of the resources as well came out of the previous year. So I know, like for German, we actually had some speakers in and we shared those resources as well on the playlist. So, you know, there's sort of an accumulation of all of the things that we've been working on over the last, yeah, it's been 2 years now. It's the last year's just merged, isn't it, into one big year. Okay, so that brings me on to sort of where we are right now at the moment. Obviously, you know, we're all finding ourselves in a situation that we could never really have imagined being in. And I think we're finding that, you know, as pupils are back now, we are noticing the sort of issues that have sort of come out of the lockdown period. So sort of right now we're here with CDGs, obviously, and we're all kind of trying to get to grips with our own centre policy, really. And I know that that does vary from school to school as well, as in, you know, the way that we've been asked to assess, the timings of assessments and moderation, things like that. So I think we're all here at the same point. I mean, are we all just up to our eyeballs in marking and grading and you know, trying to sort of do the best with the information that we have? I just wanted to ask if anyone, you know, has had any sort of problems with it. I mean, you know, I think we've all, I'm sure, have the same sort of concerns and worries. You know, is this across the board? Is this something that everybody's finding? Things like, you know, I mean, we don't have new papers, for example, so we're all using previous papers, and and papers where pupils perhaps have access to mark schemes and things like that. So I think we're all probably in the same boat there. Is that safe to say?
Yeah. Feel free, all of you, to switch on your microphone. In my school, I've had that problem that the student already have on internet 2018 and 2019. So I was just missing WJC to get new papers for us. That was my main issue with that.
I thought that was going, I thought that was going to happen, that we were going to have some resources to use, but obviously that didn't happen.
No.
And I thought that was really disappointing, because obviously we haven't got that many new papers, have we?
No.
We've got hardly anything to work with.
No.
I found as well, because I don't know whether you've done the same, say for the writing, because they'd said at the beginning of the year, and I don't know whether you were the same, at the beginning of the year, I said, right, this is the change in the GCSE. You will not be expected to do, obviously, a photo card for the speaking. You will be able to prepare one of your conversations. You will not be expected to do the translation on the writing paper. So I haven't assessed them on that, because I thought, if I said that at the beginning of this year, you're not being have other people done the same?
Yeah, the same happened here.
Yeah, definitely. We've done the same here as well. We haven't done the photo card. We took that out, and we haven't done the translation. And we've broken down the papers and really tried to use what we can. It's a really frustrating situation, isn't it? And I don't understand why WJ didn't release any new papers, because for some subjects they have. I think for business studies, I know that they did, and it's just really frustrating, especially with an exam that's your multiple choice listening and reading, where it doesn't take an awful lot, does it, to scan over the mark scheme and be able to pick up extra marks. So, but I think we are all in the same boat there. We all feel that frustration. So our sort of whole school policy is, you've got this assessment, but it's not the only assessment, is it? We've got this kind of anchor assessment and the subsidiary assessment. And we're using everything that we can, really, including the grade descriptions that they have sent out, to try to help us get it, sort of as accurate as you can. But it's really difficult, and I feel like personally as well in a position, aren't you? Because say you have got a child who has gained lots more marks than you would have expected on a reading or a listening paper. There's no way you can prove that they haven't done that themselves, so it is a really difficult one to get right.
The other thing is as well, like when I've looked at papers, like when people have sat exams in the past, there's always those kids who pull it out of the bag for the exam, because they work to an exam.
My trousers, I'm not changed.
Some people do work to an exam, and that's how they excel. So there are going to be some people who will do better. So just because they haven't done as well in class up until now doesn't mean they couldn't have done better. I'm not saying across the board on every single paper, but so it's really hard to think, right, if they sat this exam, because in the past some people have had their results and you think, whoa, I wouldn't have expected that. Do you know what I mean? You've predicted, you've thought, oh right, they C, maybe on a good day B, and all of a sudden they've come out with an A, and you think, whoa, where's that coming from? But you can't argue with it, because they've worked for it. So it's really hard to judge, isn't it?
Yeah, I think as well, we sort of feel that, as a linguist, that you can really get a good judge of their language level from their speaking and their writing.
Yeah.
And so that's something that is much harder, isn't it? For speaking, they can't simply look over a mark scheme and get it all right straight away. So I think those things like that are your sort of go-to as well for your sort of holistic judgment as well. That's how we're doing it anyway. We are using everything is equally weighted, but where you're there and you're not sure, we feel like as long as with our centre policy is as long as we can justify and our paperwork is really clear on why we've given that grade, then that's, as long as you feel that you've got it right and you've got the paperwork to justify it, really, well then let them argue with you, because you know these children best at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it's not like, I think everybody feels the same there on that one there, it's and not just in our subject, is it? It's just right across for the whole thing, really.
Yeah.
The other problem that I know has affected lots of schools is uptake. Obviously, for us, our pupils did all of their options at home, and I do wonder if languages have suffered because of that. Without having, it's perhaps not the top choice of lots of parents anyway, and so to be at home and not have the guidance from their teachers, in the same way that they would have had previously, I wonder if that's had an impact. I know a lot of our parents as well asked us, actually, they raised concerns that they felt that time out had affected languages more than other subjects. So they say, well, I can help my child in geography, or I can help them in whatever. I don't speak French, I don't speak German, I don't speak Spanish. I can't help them with that. And so by being out of the classroom, they've really missed out, and they felt that their language learning had suffered more than perhaps other subjects, and that was why they didn't perhaps opt for it. But I know there's lots of schools actually finding themselves without A-level for the first time in a long time, or with really very small numbers. So
it's the first time in 9 years that we are not having A-level, and I don't know why. I think that is because the lockdown. I don't know why. It's just very sad, And I was reading people on Facebook, writing about that, and loads of schools have suffered the same. I don't know how about the rest of people here in the meeting, but in Japan, we haven't had French, I think, Sarah, for how long? 2 years, I think. It's the second year with no French A-level.
Yeah, last year we had 4, and I thought they would be helped out because we'd been in lockdown, but then the school policy is minimum of 12, which we're very unlikely to have. So the last A-level group was, what are we now, 2021, 2018, 2019. Yeah, which is really sad.
And it does come down to your centre as well, isn't it? Because I know we've got 4 this year in AS, and they have run that for us. We had a smaller class that year for year 11, but they have run that. Although this year now we're fighting with a 4 for German, they're saying they won't run it. So it fluctuates, it varies. There is a policy that we need 10, but even if I'm just looking at this comment here. Joanne, is that Yes, 12 is so hard. Well, you may have 12 at GCSE. How do you get 12 at AS?
It's very unfair. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, we've actually got our highest AS French uptake we've had for years. We've got 14 for next year. But having said that, we did have 40 in year 11, and they were very able kids. And so I think there were a lot of them, were A-level candidates, which we perhaps haven't had. For the last few years, we haven't had that at GCSE, so we can see that starting to come through at A-level. But there certainly has not been any magic wand wave there. That is just, that just happens to be the circumstances for us this year. But again, it varies, doesn't it, from centre to centre, whether they run a class, whether they don't. Funding, I don't know if funding is different now this year, and that will have an impact on smaller classes like us. And yeah, it is.
Yeah, on the chat we have people say that 12 is very unfair, and it's true. But in the past, I'm sure that I have run A-level just with 6 or 7 of them. It wasn't a problem at all. But now, no, he said no. So I don't know how it's. How about you, Miriam, in your school? Are you going to have A-level next year?
We're 3 to 16, so we don't have a sixth form.
Oh, really?
We've got 2 pupils going to Tonnereval, and they're both opting for Spanish. But last year we had 3 that went from us to Ton that all opted for, and then they didn't run it because those were the only 3. There was no one from Ton that wanted to do it. So I don't even know whether the 2 that want to do it from us this year will be able to. I'm not sure. But our GCSE numbers, our year 9s haven't finalised their options yet. We kind of shifted the process to this term so that they did it in school rather than at home. But the initial figures coming in, we're looking at 23 for Spanish. So it's down on last year, but it's not the year 11s that we're just putting through now is only 18, so it's not hugely different, but it's down from last year.
Yeah, but that's actually, 23 is great, isn't it, coming through, especially if it's up on your year 11, and that's, it's salvageable, isn't it, going forward? If you've got enough to sort of keep it coming through is what the important thing is, isn't it, really? It's great that they moved it later there. I think that's really insightful for your students.
Yeah, it's made sense. One thing that's affected our intake massively is we usually run a year 9 carousel, so we only teach we split it into 4 classes, and we only teach a class for 8 weeks, so we might only see them from the first 8 weeks in September, but they have 8 lessons a fortnight, so we see them loads. Whereas this year, because of the risk of not being in school for a large proportion of time, which obviously ended up happening, they decided to not run the carousel, which meant my teaching hours in year 9 stayed the same, so 8 hours a fortnight, but instead it was split across all 4 year 9 classes. So because we teach in doubles, each year 9 has actually only had 1 Spanish lesson a fortnight. Which meant we get hit by inset days, we get hit by different things. There's 3 year 9 classes that have had 8 lessons of Spanish this year, and then are being asked if they want to take Spanish GCSE. Well, obviously not going to be a priority, is it? Because I've not had chance to see them. But yeah,
we've had the same in our school this year, because we changed our lessons to 100-minute lessons because of COVID. Year 9's only had 100-minute lesson a fortnight, and they say they come, they're like, Miss, we can't remember what we did last time. And then some of them have done homework, some of them haven't. And it honestly is my year 11 gone out this year. I've got 28, really strong class. And then my year 9s, because they were like, Miss, locked, we only have it once a fortnight. We've hardly had any French this year. And it lockdown, it was the hardest subject to do at home. Darren Welsh, they've all said to me. Even though I was trying to do as much interactive things as possible and online game, I signed up to loads, trying to make as interactive as possible. They just said they found it really difficult, and I've literally got 8 taken GCSE. We're 3 to 16 as well, so we've got another thing where there's a couple who want to take French, and they were like, oh, Miss, I don't think they're running French in the college. So when the GCSE then hasn't got any way to go for A level afterwards, that's obviously going to put pupils off, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, that's what we're sort of fighting for this German class of 4, because there is no other school in Bridgend that teaches German at A level, so there's nowhere else for them to go anyway. And they'd have to go to Cowbridge, would be the closest one, which is not an easy sort of journey, really. It's not a quick journey, certainly. And I'm not sure if it, and Cowbridge have also got the same question mark over whether they can run it there. So that's the thing, and that's what I mean. You've just got to keep it coming through, haven't you? And it's so hard then if they're not running it in the college, you don't have that support there. You can say, well, yeah, do this because there's you've got a future in this here, because they just will go, well, I can't do it. So what's the point of doing it at GCSE?
How about you, Frank? Do you have any A level in your school for next year?
I'm not too sure. I'm not super optimistic, to be perfectly honest. Very similar situation here. I had 17 in my year 11 group this year.
Yeah.
I was quite optimistic because I was pretty sure I had about 6 who wanted to carry on. But new policy, we've always run it. We've always been able to run courses with 5, but now the new policy is 10.
Yeah.
And out of those 6s anyway, they all came to see me and I said, "It's not going to run, is it? Is it not going to run?" So I said, if you don't take it, it won't run. The bottom line is I've got 2 who signed up, 2 who want to do it. So it's not, it's officially not running. I'm trying to, and I hope you'll excuse my French there, but I'm literally trying to prostitute myself here. And I've offered,
we're recording, Frank. So
I know. I've offered to teach those lessons or half of those lessons in my frees next year, in my free periods next year, and do some after school. The kids are okay, the parents are okay with that. Obviously, it would impact my frees, but that's the only way I can keep the course running. And we know what it's like when the course stops running. If it stops running for a number of years, it's never going to come back, is it? So, that's the situation, but it's not great.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. How about you, Rihanna? What is the situation in your school?
So in my school, we've got our first GCSE year at the moment for Spanish, and French has been running for a long time. So we don't have any A-level classes at the moment, and only 2 out of my 20 Spanish pupils have opted for A-level next year. We think it's still running though, but I'm not sure.
Fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, hopefully. I think the French will run. I'm not sure on numbers. I haven't had the figures yet. With regards to GCSE, I think Spanish is the more popular subject rather than French. But again, I don't know the subject. I don't know the numbers yet.
So you teach yourself Spanish?
Pardon?
So you teach yourself Spanish?
Yes.
Or, yeah.
So I teach. We teach Key Stage 3 Spanish and French, but then I take the Spanish GCSE and A-level.
Oh, good, good. Oh, well, fingers crossed for you then.
Yeah, your first GCSE class, that's amazing. That's really exciting.
Anything that you need, Rhiannon, you know, just email me and I will help you.
Oh, thank you.
Spanish A-level.
Oh, thank you so much.
Anything that you need, just let me know.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
And I don't know, any more people that would like to tell us if they have any A-level groups running next year? I just only have the same name, so I don't know. How about you? Do we have Joanne? How about you, Joanne? Yeah, Joanne.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but Sophie, you want to carry on with the PowerPoint?
Yeah, okay, so that's sort of the sort of situation that we're in now. And the third bit is perhaps hopefully a little bit more positive, is where do we go from here? What have we got sort of going forward? So we feel, I don't know if you feel this as well, I mean, one of our biggest gaps and one of the biggest issues is the speaking, the sort of standards in speaking. Obviously, they haven't been able to practice in the same way. I mean, they don't even speak in English on Google Meet when you're doing a live lesson, if you do them. And so they're not going to be speaking in foreign language. So we found the quality of speaking is perhaps really sort of dipped. So that's a focus for us now. We're going to make that a focus sort of going forward. This last half term now, try to do lots of speaking, especially I think with year 10, it's really important, and year 12. I mean, we've been doing these assessments now with year 12, and oh gosh, the quality, they've really struggled. They found it so hard to access, you know, the cards AS level. So that's going to be a real focus for us, is just to try to get them speaking, you know, little games, things like Taboo. We've got quite a few little card games and things, just anything, just to try to develop that fluency in speaking, because they're really going to need it next year. And I always find, so it's quite a nice thing to do the sort of summer term, to sort of, you can recap a lot of the topics that you've done over the year in speaking. Because I always feel if they can do it in speaking, okay, they can't necessarily spell it all perfectly, but they do have a lot more fluency there, and it helps all the skills, doesn't it? It sort of helps the listening, helps them with their vocab for everything, really. So yes, I've just seen this. So I had an email today from our exams officer about 2022, which said that there is, you know, like a little feedback survey that's gone up on the Secure site, I think today. So they have proposed changes for 2022. I haven't looked at it yet. I don't know if anyone else has seen it, but they are asking for feedback like they did last time. So that's definitely something that we all need to do, is go on there and check that out and, you know, give the feedback. Because to be fair, last time we did all say about, you know, the issues with the proposals, like the dictionaries and things, and they did amend that based on the teacher feedback. So, you know, I do think there it is worth doing. Yeah, they did act on the feedback last time, so really good. Okay, so no photos. Is it the same, Amy, do you know if it's the same topics as it was going to be for this year?
I think it's the same as this year, same topics, and there's no photo card.
No
That
photo card.
makes sense, doesn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, so like the social issues, wasn't it, this year? And I think it was technology and social media, and that France, Germany, Spain, and the Spanish-speaking world, that sort of that bullet point as well. So, and there was one on theme 3 as well. So yeah, so that would be good to know. And yeah, obviously we can start, you know, sort of planning for that then once we know that.
Yeah, and social issues also out.
And I imagine the A2 will be the same. They hadn't proposed any changes to AS for the current year 12, though, had they? Even though they were in lockdown last year. So you know, the topic coverage was the same, and I don't know if that's the same. You know, obviously they're still year 12, but they've missed part of year 10 and part of year 11, so they've had more time, you know, out of the classroom. So yeah, so definitely have a look at that on the WJ and give your feedback. Yeah, but so I was going to say, so that was for us, we've noticed speaking. Is that fair to say that you've noticed that too?
Absolutely. I've got a couple of kids whose writing, listening and readings are all solid A stars, and their speakings are coming out at Bs.
They just haven't heard it, have they? They haven't heard the language, let alone like
being out of practice. And I also think there's a massive what's the word I'm looking for? Like a nervousness to it. They're scared to speak in a year that I've never seen before, even though they can write A-star Spanish, therefore they can definitely speak it as well. But there's just a barrier to it where they're not prepared to do it because they haven't had the practice and they're scared to do it.
And they haven't necessarily had an awful lot of face-to-face contact with people anyway. So like even in English, they haven't had that. So
they have lost all the social skills during lockdown.
Yeah. So I wonder if there's that element of it as well. It's not just I mean, they added another dimension by making it in a foreign language, but I think the skill of, well, I can sit here with you and have this face-to-face conversation. You know, like we've all been doing our speakings with year 11, and it's just, yeah, you really, it's just so hard for them, isn't it? You really feel for them, like, come on, you know.
During the first lockdown, I was calling my year 12 back then. During the first lockdown, I was making phone calls to my year 12 just to try to keep them talking Spanish. And at the beginning, I kept it very with the topics, you know. But then I realized, oh my goodness, week by week, they were losing more and more and more Spanish. I thought, my goodness, what is happening to them? You know, when I left them, they could have a debate about anything. And now, so by the end, I was just talking about, you know, random things like, oh, so what have you done today? And I thought, it's year 12. Tell me about your daily routine, because I just only wanted to make them talk. But it was so difficult of how, did you know, I realized how much Spanish they have lost. And this year, it was like, oh my goodness, they were in year 13. I have to start again just to keep them talking. I thought, what has happened in lockdown? They have lost the social skills and everything.
There was a lot on the Welsh news, wasn't there, about, you know, the Welsh medium pupils at home with non-Welsh speaking families and how that was so difficult. And I mean, that is exactly the same for all of our pupils, you know. How many of them were actually at home with someone who can speak to them in French or Spanish or German, and they just weren't, you know, having the exposure to it. And so that's the thing. I think it's the thing that drops the quickest as well, isn't it? It's the skill that, you know, when you keep practicing it, it builds, and then it's if you stop, it's the one thing that sort of just really takes a dive. So yeah, so we're going to really focus on that here. Is there anything else that anybody's like sort of discovered that you think might be something to focus on going forward, or a big issue? No, the only other one I was going to say was listening as well, sort of in the same thing, because they're not listening to you as much. They're not, you know, yes, they're doing listening tasks perhaps at home, but it's not quite the same as doing it in a classroom. And without hearing it, I found that they found that the year 11s as well, doing the listener, found that actually quite a tricky skill compared to perhaps in previous years where it's not sort of so much of a challenge. But it's linked, isn't it? It's all the
I speak Spanish to my students. I don't speak English, and during the lockdown, I found it so awkward to talk Spanish there in front of the students, because of course, when they're in a classroom, you can say, "Oh, please, can you translate?" Or they will translate, and you will see their faces if they are following you or not. But in front of a camera, talking Spanish for 1 hour, I was like, "Oh, is anyone there?"
Can you translate? Yeah.
It was awkward, and in the end, I didn't know have to carry on talking Spanish. I thought it would not make a difference even if I talk Chinese to them. One is going to reply here on the chat to me. I don't know. I found it just awkward. The whole thing. I don't know about the rest, but for me, there is someone is saying here there is one. No. So yeah, I just found it very awkward, and especially, you know, it's not the same to talk Spanish when you are in a classroom than in Microsoft Teams. in front of the student when the cameras are off and when you cannot see them. So, and you don't know what is going on.
Yeah.
I found it that very difficult during lockdown.
Yeah, I agree completely. I'm just looking at this comment here. I was going to come up to this technology issue here with this third point here on the slide. So we've kind of touched on the 2022 assessments, but yeah, making the most of all the things that they've learned and we've learned over the last year and going forward. So we were using lots of Google Classroom, and we came up, we discovered Mote. Have you been using Mote? Mote is brilliant. So if you're on Google Classroom, you can just download the extension for Mote. I think you get the free trial. There's something like a 30-second recording, but you can keep sharing your code to extend and extend. You get a 90-second recording, and that was brilliant. So it's just so easy. So it's like where your chat is. You just click the Mote and you just speak, and so then you can record perhaps a model answer or a little bit of feedback. So, some of my form, I was singing happy birthday to them on their birthdays and things. But that was really good, and they were then sending those back to us. The other one is Vocaroo. Have we seen that?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
The same sort of thing. It's just kind of not. The great thing with Mote, if you're on Google Classroom, is that it just integrates into you can get a Google extension, and it integrates in the whole thing, and you can check engagement, so you can see if it's been read or listened to, how many times it's been listened to, and all of that. So that was brilliant going forward. I'm definitely going to use that more. It's really, really been helpful. But yeah, there's lots of things, aren't there? There are definite positives. There are things that they can do now online that they couldn't do a year ago, and so I think it's just a case of trying to use that to our advantage as much as we can. And we've got a few things that we're going to share now over the next few slides of things that we've sort of enjoyed using. Okay, so just looking, is this a message?
Look at.
Yeah.
My students absolutely love look at.
Yeah, so these are a few things that, so I'm going to go through these things with you, and then I'll hand over to you, Valle, and you can go through the rest.
Thank you.
So actually, Slides Mania is what we've used here to create this PowerPoint, and there's hundreds of free templates to make your PowerPoints a bit more fancy and a bit more snazzy. So this is one, and sort of all these little iPad and desktop sort of icons, they're all built in. So whatever your type of PowerPoint, there's just millions on there. So you can have maybe a little look at that. That's really good if you just want to sort of make it look a bit more pro. And then, yeah, so I'm going to talk through just really quickly. So Pixabay, Word Wall, and Blockit. And if you've got any questions, then you can please ask or put it in the chat for me. Okay, so Blockit, have we used Blockit? They love it.
It's their favorite now. They love it.
They absolutely love it, and it's so much quieter than Quizlet Live as well. It's brilliant because they're so focused. They're not shouting at each other, and they're just focused on their own little game. Yeah. So we did a few of these over lockdown as well, where we just post the code and they'd all join at the same time, and that was really nice for them to be able to sort of interact. I did this with our primary pupils as well as some transition. This screenshot here is actually the primary one that I did. So I got them all on at the same time as well, so they could sort of play against each other. Yeah, and they just love it. I mean, they just really do. It's just great. It's new, and they do seem to be adding sort of new games and things as well as we're going forward. So yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's just.
And the nice thing is that you download your vocabulary from Quizlet. So if you have, even if you don't have the Quizlet, you just get someone else's Quizlet there. So it's fab. It's fab.
It's so easy.
Yes, it's free. It's free. Yeah.
It's free. It's super quick. So you go to your Quizlet set, press the three little dots, export it. You basically copy and paste out of Quizlet into Blockit in 2 minutes, and it's done. And they absolutely love it. It's got loads of different game modes. Oh, that's my next
if you have to pay if you want to get someone else Blockit. You could play someone else Blockit. That is not a problem. But if you want to download it for yourself, then you have to pay. Yeah. But otherwise, it's free.
But you don't need to do any of that. Like, it's so easy to set them up and create them. You don't need to pay anything for it. It's really, really good. So if you haven't had a look at that, definitely go and see it, because yeah, I think it's been one of their favorite things, and it has been something. Now they're back. They say, can we do a quick Blockit at the end of the lesson?
Yeah.
we'll do it on our phones, we'll do it on our phones. So yeah, it's similar to Kahoot, but it's got just loads of different games, and the sort of the gaming aspect of it is really quite intense. So they don't even realise they're answering the questions, and it's all so quick. It's really engaging, really interactive, and they're super enthusiastic about it. They really enjoy it.
Sophie, Rhiannon is asking, is it similar to Kahoot? It's better than Kahoot. It's better than Kahoot. They love it. They don't ask me for Kahoot anymore. Or
No.
Git. No, not anymore. They just only want Blooket all the time.
Yeah, even, do you want to do Quizlet Live or Blooket? No, Blooket, please.
Blooket all the time. Yeah.
It's such a shame. In my school at the moment, we're not allowed to use our phones, or pupils aren't allowed to use their phones, so we can't use games like Kahoot or anything like that anymore.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really, really hard, isn't it? It's really frustrating. It's something we found. We've come back, and that's what basically that's what I'm doing next week with Key Stage 3. They're all in the computer room doing Blooket all week. But is that like a temporary thing? I'm not sure who was speaking there.
Rhiannon. It was Rhiannon.
Yeah, it was me. No, I don't think it's a temporary. I think it's a permanent change.
Really, Rhiannon? That's sad.
Yeah, I don't know. It's to avoid sort of bullying issues and things. They've just put a blanket rule.
Well, in my school, mobile phones are not allowed. But when we play Blooket, I just say, "Who has a mobile phone?" and we just use them. And the school is happy with that, although we are not allowed to use phones. They are not allowed to use phones outside. No, they are not. But if it's for educational purposes, they are. So yeah.
Okay, I'll try and look into it.
Try that one.
I haven't had any success, but we'll see.
Oh,
we'll keep on.
Good luck with that one also. Hello, Anjali. We have a new lady here on our meeting called Anjali.
Hola.
Hola. So we are talking about Blooket. Did you use Blooket, Anjali? Or
No,
have you used Blooket in your school?
Never used Blooket.
Really?
No, it's new to me.
Oh, wow.
Definitely have a look at it. It's really, really good and really easy, and it's free. So it's definitely one to have a look at.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the time, so I'm going to move on because we've got to get through here. Pixabay is something that I've only recently come across. I don't know if you've used this, but it's free. It's got the most amazing high quality images that you can download. This is one screenshot here when I was searching for something Provence. They're amazing, really good. So if you're looking for some nice images to go in your PowerPoints, your whatever, definitely have a little look at Pixabay.
Okay.
And WordWall is something. It is a paid subscription. I put the prices here. It's new. We just started using WordWall, but it is really easy. It's really quick to create. It gives lots of different style games. You can use it in the classroom and you can use it at home. We were feeling a lot. There were so many things we couldn't do. We restricted to our 2-meter box, and you're all in your mask. And there were so many of the fun activities that we couldn't do because we couldn't mix them around the room and all of this stuff. We wanted something a bit different to use in the classroom, so we looked into this, and it has been brilliant. Here's some examples of some of the games. Again, it's really, really easy to do, and you can, I've set these as homeworks now for them to practice at home. There's, drag the words into the correct order, spin the wheel, open up the boxes, just loads and loads of different things. But it is a paid subscription. There is a free one, but it is quite limited as to what you can do, and especially if there's more than one teacher in the department, that it probably doesn't allow you an awful lot, but you could maybe have a little go at the free one and see if you like it. So yeah, that one is just something I wanted to share as well. So that's WordWall. And then some of the fun things that we did over lockdown that I'm hoping to kind of be able to keep going in some way as we go forward. We did this thing in gym, and we had these little traffic light men. This is the ample man. And we did this little challenge where, so firstly I painted a load of pebbles, and I live in Portugal, so I hid them all around the area. And then we asked pupils to paint their own pebbles and hide them as well. And then for pupils who were out of catchment, we asked staff to hide these little figures in their resources. So they were on the Google Classroom, they were in this Where's Wally. This was something that was taken from Reg Time. And they had to do a challenge. So they had to hide their own pebbles or find as many as they could and enter. And then we did some sweets for the winners. But one of the things that came out of it, which was really nice, was it actually found its way into the Porthcawl Facebook group. And so there were all these locals saying, what's this? What's these? What are these? I think they're German. And so they like kind of generated a bit of a talking point in the town. And then I sort of went on and explained, and they were like, I love this. This is great. So I thought I'm definitely going to do that again, because it's just like a way of raising the profile of the language, but within the community as well as just in the school. And it was nice for them to sort of, they were all saying, oh, wow, look at the German department are doing. That's really cool. So we were like, yay. And it was getting them out. So they were out, they were had to hunt for the pebbles and find them and take, you know, a photo of them and upload it to the classroom and things. So that worked really, really well. And is also something that would be maybe quite nice for transition. I was thinking that you could do something like this, get the primaries to all sort of do a pebble and hide them around, and then can they spot, you know, the pebbles from different schools or whatever. So yeah, that was something that we did that was really nice. I did some work with Year 6. I did a little Bitmoji classroom, so all of these things here are linked. There were loads of little YouTube videos and how to draw the Paris Saint-Germain logo and information about the tricolour and things like that. So they really liked that as well, the Year 6 feedback that they had. So that was a really nice sort of transition activity that I did there. And I'm going to hand over to you now, because this is all your wonderful things.
Hola. So the lockdown, in the second lockdown, Amy asked me to have a meeting like this one. But in the end, you know, I invited a few people from Twitter. And in the end, the meeting ended up in a YouTube webinar. You can see here with 1,300 views so far. So where I learned loads of things that I'm going to show you now. It was very, very useful. So I have to say thank you. I'm on Twitter. I don't know how many of you are on Twitter, but I've learned loads of stuff from all these people that you see here. They have helped me so much with the teaching. And during lockdown, I have learned loads from them. So I'm going to show you a few ideas that I got from them. So this is my lockdown discoveries. By the way, I got my avatar here because Sophie asked me to get one. So I got it last night for first time. So that is the last thing that I have learned in the past 24 hours, how to get my avatar. I just only need to learn now how to speak Spanish, because at the moment it's in English. So I don't know how to make her to speak Spanish. So for me, the most handy thing during lockdown was Quickfire Lite. I use it Quickfire just as a starter. It is very easy for, I don't know if you have used it, just come here to the chat and let me know. But it's a lot of fun. Here is some of the answers from year 11. So I use it from year 7 to year 11. But year 11, especially to practice for the writing and for their speaking. So they were showing me their answers. Oh, I will do that. Thank you. In the chat, they are telling me change the language on your phone. Yeah, my phone is in English, so I practice my English, but we do that. So yeah, Quickfire Lite was the highlight of the lockdown. We absolutely love it, and you could use it for loads and loads of things, because the students are not shy with Quickfire Lite. Here you could see the names, but you could hide their names. So you could just talk to them in Spanish or in any language, and you could say, oh, ¿qué has hecho? What have you done this morning? Or anything. And they would just answer very quickly in the language. So I love Quickfire Lite. Another one that helped me a lot is learning apps. You see here, .org. I didn't create any of those tags. They were already there, and I use it from year 13 to year 7. You have here to practice the numbers. It comes with the listening. It's really good, very good Spanish. But you also have here for year 11 grammar. So it's very easy. It's free to use. Fab. Love it. Another one that we love it. Oh, bless. This one I discovered it the week before we finished the lockdown. I thought, why didn't I discover before that one? And it's the Jamboard Google. That was a favorite. They absolutely love it. This idea came from Pencoit High School. So Kelly gave me that idea, and it was about a poem, and we have to practice Si pudiera, if I could live my life again. And this is their answers using subjunctive and conditional, but they absolutely love it, creating this gorgeous thing. So I just thought I should have discovered before in the first lockdown, but never mind. So this is Jamboard and this is Google. The next thing that we discovered, oh, this one. Oh, they love it. I don't know how many of you have used this one. This one, for translation, the logger won't open unless the translation is perfect. So for translation is the best one, this one. It's very easy. I have shared a video of how to do it. It's free also, and it takes 4 minutes. In the moment that you download it, the thing, if you go to flippity.net, I think, the moment that you download it, you just only have to add your translation there, copy and paste from your PowerPoint, done. And it's very, very easy, and they love it. Yeah, the other one that we used also with year 7 and year 9 was a puzzle there. We didn't do anything. We just went to the site. We found it there. Really good for listening, for videos. Net. Also, I've showed you the examples for year 9, year 11. These two, they were the favorites. Sonríe Spanish in Twitter gave us lovely things for free. This one, as you see here, was for St. Valentine, was gorgeous. You could download it for free. It was in French, in Spanish, and in German, and in English. You have there the English version. How I love myself in Spanish. But then also for Women's Day, they gave another one. And it was gorgeous. And you just see this, but it came also with the vocabulary to add. And last week, my students were doing a writing, year 9. And they remember this vocabulary and they added to the writing. I thought, oh, wow, the writing that we did about Women's Day. So fab. I absolutely love Sonríe Spanish. And they have a lot of free stuff that is gorgeous. Okay, what's more? Oh, genially. That was for me the most difficult thing to learn during the lockdown. It took me 48 hours of my life, but I managed. So this lady here, I don't know if you could see, it's called Marie Alirot. She's genius. And she has already done everything for you. You just only have to go there and to change it. These ones are free. You could access in Genially. I could share it with you, and you just only have to change the questions. We did this one, the snakes and ladders. It's on my Twitter. You could see my students playing. And this week I've done this, the Connect 4 with my students. They love it. 2 groups, and it's absolutely love it. So this one is about perfect and imperfect. I change it for daily routine. I have done it year 11 revision, everything. So it's the same thing as you just change the vocabulary. They absolutely love it, and I'm happy to share with you. What more things? Flipgrid. Madame Rosa is here. I could talk to you about Flipgrid because she's still using it. But that was great for them to record themselves. They love it because they can put the emojis and they could have a lot of fun. But I also use it. I asked my year 13, oh, could you do a recording of why to choose languages or why it's good to learn Spanish? So they did the videos here, and I brought it to my PowerPoint on the A-level open evening. So it wasn't just for the recording. So that one was great, Flipgrid. Canva. Oh, Canva. Canva is the best thing to make certificates. My students absolutely love it. It took me 2 seconds, so I just changed, okay, Nerja, and now I'm going to put Barcelona, and I'm going to put Messi, and I just changed, and look at that, and they absolutely love it. And you just download it and send it to the student, love it. And I also learned how to make videos in Canva now. Fun challenges. And with that, I'm finishing. So the first one that we did during the first lockdown was food. So this is all the things that they created at home. My goodness, I'm so starving now. Paella, patatas bravas, churros, everything. During the first lockdown also, we started a challenge about teaching Spanish to your dog, but it wasn't that professional made, let's say that way. So then we did another challenge about El Día de los Muertos. And look at that, they even did a pizza, which you see there, and t-shirts. And even an altar. I got this idea from a school, sorry, I think that was in England. So, or in America. No, it was in America. She put it on Twitter. And that was one of the challenges, to create an altar for, so that was gorgeous. And the favorite challenge was to teach Spanish to your dog. And you cannot believe it, how many people has emailed me, please, can you send me the PowerPoint? Okay, it wasn't even my dog, it was my neighbor's dog. I brought it here to the house, gave him some chorizo because I thought with chorizo, this dog will do anything in life. And that dog was following any instructions in Spanish. And then I put it on a video and we did this challenge. And this is the certificate with the dogs. We even have 2 guinea pigs, a rabbit, cockadoodles, and 2 cats. But the cats were not, you know, bless them. They didn't want to pose for the picture. And I think that's it. Oh, that's it. So here you have our email addresses if you need anything, and my Twitter accounts if you also want to follow me. And any questions?
We made it. I didn't think we were going to make it in time then. I thought.
Well, I talk very fast, Sophie, so I've done it very quickly.
Yes. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to bring up? Or
We are happy to share the PowerPoint with all of you. And also the recording, we'll download the recording for all of you. And you know, any questions or I am happy to help you. Just email me for Spanish. GCSE, we have someone typing here.
Thank you very much. It's been really nice to see everybody.
Thank you, Miriam. It was really nice to see you.
yeah, it's so nice. It just is important, isn't it, to kind of just have a chat to people, because you're not doing any other insight where you meet people. So it is really nice to just see people and have a chat and go, yes, it's not just me. It's not just me.
Can I just jump in? If there's any particular support for next year that you want from Central South, can you let Valle and Sophie know, or myself? Because we really want to help and support going forward, but we need to know what kind of stuff you want us to be providing or developing. And it'd be really, really useful if you could contact us and let us know. All right.
Well, thank you very much, all of you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Frank. Lovely meeting you.